All right, y'all, what's up? We are back for the last episode of Baddies West. And when I say episode, I mean episodes isn't like what they've already filmed, excluding the reunion. We didn't get a reunion sneak peek, so I'm sure that's probably coming soon since they just filmed that recently. But yeah, this is the finale episode, and then we got Bad Boys as well. I'm gonna conjoin it all together. So if you're watching for Bad Girls or Baddies, stay tuned for that because that's the first thing I'm gonna talk about. If you're watching Bad Boys, that's gonna be at the back half of this review. But if you are new here, thumbs up the video, drop your comments down below, subscribe if you have not already, share the video, and let's go. All right, so we get back from the hood ratchet ghetto stuff that was going on last week with the Tommy and Stunner Girl melee, Royal Rumble is what I'm gonna call it. So they were literally fighting, and we got pretty much cliffhanger last week with Stunner getting got by Tommy while she's getting pulled away from getting jumped, and Tommy getting her licks off. Tommy got her licks off. Tommy's friend, or not Tommy's friend, Stunner's friend ends up getting Tommy because she saw Tommy getting Stunner while Stunner was getting pulled away and starts getting on Tommy. And then Tommy ends up getting on the couch. And it's just like so much commotion, so many people around, security, all the crews. You got Stunner's crew, you got Tommy's crew. Everybody's just involved. There's a lot of shit going on. You can't really see what's going on. Stunner saying that her girl was in there tagging Tommy. Tommy saying that she was tagging the girl. So we really don't know who was winning what. It's all hearsay because we couldn't see anything because everybody was blocking it because they were too busy trying to break it up. So it was so much going on. Tommy's wig was off. They tried moving everybody out the space and whatever. Stunner ended up getting back over there, getting into it again with with Tommy. Tommy was saying that she ripped that girl's, whoever was on there, the friend that was over there trying to fight her, said she was ripping on her fingers and stuff, trying to twist her fingers off and whatever. Just a lot of shit going on. And, I can't even be mad at Tommy for that instance because, like I said, with me, if I'm in the same thing with Stunner, if Stunner was doing the same thing, I wouldn't be mad at her. I always say when it comes to like a fighting situation, if you're going to fight with me one-on, I'll fight you fair. Like, we just fight. Like, it is what it is. But if you jump at me, it's all bets are off. I'm not playing fair. I'm grabbing whatever I want to grab. If I want to continue to hit you with stuff, I'm not going to bite you. That's not something I would do. But if I was somebody that would bite somebody, I would bite you. I'd be twisting your stuff. I'd be trying to you too. Like, I'm like, all bets are off when you decide to take a 1 versus 1 and make it a 2 versus 1 or more than one. I feel like that's why I don't like jumping at all. Because it's not fair. And then whenever you do that, can't get mad at somebody doing whatever they're doing. So if she started twisting that girl's fingers, then it is what it is. But they ended up getting everybody out of the space. Like, they're trying to move everybody out of the space, out of the club, because all that tear gas and all that stuff, people was getting bear maced and whatever. So there's a lot going on, and it's too many people in a tight space. Like, it's too much going on, all this fighting and stuff. So they ended up getting Tommy out. She's on the bus. It looks like fans was out there fighting, and I guess they thought that one of the fans was, I guess, somebody of Stunner's crew, because Tommy's crew started fighting the fan. And then you hear security or the producers talking about something that's a fan, like, leave her alone. So the fan ends up leaving. Stunner said she was coming outside looking for Tommy because she's trying to get another round in. She said it's up until I feel like stopping, which I don't blame her. Like I said, because if I got jumped, I'm not stopping until I feel like stopping. If I want to go 80 rounds, we're going to go 80 rounds. And that's kind of the type of energy that Stunner was on. We already know that's the type of energy she on. And apparently Tommy had said that people were still, apparently Tommy's people were still jumping on Stunner because she ended up saying that somebody was trying to get on her again. You couldn't see anything still. That's the whole thing. The only thing that we saw was that you could clearly see when it comes to the fighting was Stunner and Tommy. That was it. Everything else that happened, it was too many people around, too much commotion, all these cameras. They did not get anything. So we couldn't see anything. It's just all hearsay in these confessionals. But then they ended up shooting. Like, it got to a whole new level of but that's the way it is in the Bay. That's what I'm telling you, man. I've heard so much about the Bay. I feel like this part of the Bay, I couldn't be in this part of the Bay. I could be in that part of the debate, but with me, I'm running too if I see if I hear some gunshots. I mean, that's anybody's natural reaction to do that. But they ended up doing it and everybody started running. That's literally what happened. So the girls ended up getting on the bus, and Scotty was the first one on the bus. I think Kat was next, but they ended up getting the girls to the bus. So some of them were on the bus at that point. Sky, Stunner, no, Stunner went on the bus. She was gone, and that brings me to that point. Yeah, Stunner and Tommy, they did their exit interviews, and that was it. We didn't see no more of them. So they were gone. They ended up separating them. Obviously, they would probably separate them because they can't be on that bus together. They just started all that mess anyways, and they both are not like calmed down at all. So they done. We don't see them the rest of the episode. The rest of the girls ended up getting on the bus. Natalie gets on the bus. Rolly is being helped to the bus. And she gets on the bus, starts hyperventilating, having a panic attack, having an asthma attack. She starts crying and stuff. She said she was scared about all that stuff that was going on with the shooting. Obviously, with her being a bigger girl, when it comes to being in them compact spaces and all of that stuff going on, it's not good for her health. And not only that, it seemed like it was pretty scary. Like the whole situation, watching how she was acting, it was kind of scary. Scotty got up there trying to help because she's certified. I think she is a personal trainer. And I do know with being a personal trainer, you do have to get certified in CPR and all that stuff. So she was up there trying to help. Rolly's still like freaking out. She's having a panic attack. But Razor had me laughing because that would be me. Like I tell you, that's why I love Razor, because Razor does things that I would be doing. She was sitting back there in the back of the bus, just like, I'm ready to go home. That's the kind of energy she was giving was like, I'm ready to go home. Like, I'm tired of it. She was sitting back there chilling while everything else was going on in the front. So then we get Krishan. Krishan also ended up having an exit interview. And you can tell, like, in that interview, I don't know if it was a freshly done interview, like recently, but you can tell Krishan seems to have been growing up. Like, it seems like she's turning a new leaf where it seems like she's not trying to fight all the time. You can tell, and it's just kind of with the show too. Granted, the stuff that happened at the beginning of the season with Lo, that was childish, but you can tell Krishan was trying her best to not be on the show fighting all the time, doing all this stupid stuff with the beef. And I can tell she's kind of starting to turn a leaf and starting to grow. And what you can see from her on social media now that she's pregnant, she's not drinking, she's not smoking, she's sober, she looks cleaner, she looks happier. So hopefully she stays that way. But yeah, she does her exit interview and she's like, she out and whatever. So the next scene, we're back on that bus still. Apparently Stunner's friend was on the bus. Don't know how she got on there. And then her friend, we found out the friend was the assistant. She was on the bus and she was sitting on Rolly's bed. Rolly ended up, when she was fine and they finally got her to like calm down or whatever and breathe, she ended up going back there to her bed and saw her on the bed and she starts tripping out. Like, why is this bitch on my bed? Long story short, one thing led to another. They ended up fighting. So there's a lot of shit going on the bus too. And that's the thing too. That's why I said a couple, probably at the beginning of the season, I said it whenever they was fighting on the bus. I don't understand why people fight on the bus. Because me, I'm very claustrophobic. If I'm fighting, we got to get out in the street. We got to get out where there's space. I can't fight in tight quarters. That stuff is crazy to me. But they ended up doing all that. Natalie was going off on the girl because Natalie's on the bunk. Like, they're right in between the aisle where the bunk beds are. Natalie's already in the bunk. And she going off because the girl won't get off the bus at all. And it's like, how's she gonna get off the bus when security's blocking her? You got Rolly right here. You got Scotty right here. It's like she got to go up front to get out. And that means y'all got to calm down to allow her to get off the bus. But she wasn't trying to get off either. That's the funny thing. So they start moving forward to get the girl out. And Natalie is sitting on the side and she kicks that girl in her face. She kicks her in the face. And of course, that blows it up again. But one of the funniest things is they finally got her off the bus. And when they got her off the bus, Rolly said, fuck that bitch. And then Natalie goes, fuck who, bitch? And then when that happened, I was sitting there laughing so hard because it was like, what are you talking about, Natalie? Natalie was so hyped up and so irritated with that girl being on the bus that she did not completely understand who Rolly was talking about. But that was funny. But Razor was in the back in her confessional saying no more open for her because it's too much going on. I don't doubt her at all. And I don't blame her because I would have felt the same way. It's too much going on, too ghetto, it's just too much. But they was waiting for that girl to get her Uber. Like, the girl was off the bus and they was still sitting there. And they brought the Philly out of Cat. BGC5 Cat came back for a quick minute, cussing them all out, Do you need me to drive this bus? Why the fuck are we sitting here? Where I'm from, we don't just sit here when people out here shooting. We go. Everything she was saying was facts. Like everything she was saying was facts. And then we got her cat interview, like her exit interview, Sky's exit interview, Razor's exit interview. And then Natalie ended up on the phone with Stunner because Stunner had called her, like, who the fuck did this to my assistant? Yada, yada, yada. I guess the assistant had called her. Going off, Natalie saying, well, your friend was on this bus and she was swinging on everybody and whatever. Stunner said she was coming, but we didn't even see her come. And then we ended up getting Biggie's exit interview. And then after that, that was it. Like, that was the rest of them all being together besides, like, the Croatia trip where Natalie, Natalie, Scotty, Rolly, and Lowe were in Croatia. Granted, I'm not gonna lie to you, I watched it, but I didn't write anything down because it's not much to talk about. Like, they was talking about who should come back for the next season. The three of them, Rolly, Scotty, and Natalie, were talking about it, and they were saying the three of them should come back. Rolly, I don't mind coming back. Rolly can come back every single season. Scotty don't bring nothing to the show, so it's like, what's the point of her being there? And Natalie is funny as hell, and she is the executive producer, of course. So of course she's gonna be there. But Scotty, no reason for her to be back at all. Like no reason for her to be back at all. But of course she probably will be because she's Natalie's lapdog. Like that's literally, and Natalie, word on the street is that they together too. So Natalie got that's allegedly. I'm not getting sued. Natalie got a lot of different pets that she can choose from. But if you asking me, since I'm done, because I ain't talking nothing else about baddies, I'll do a rankings for it. I feel like my least favorite for this show was definitely Sky. Sky didn't really bring much, so I would rank her last. Scotty would be next. Scotty, she didn't bring much, and then when she did bring something to the table, it's like she gassed her own self up. And then when Natalie was putting her hands on her, she didn't do nothing about it, but you had no issue doing it with Razor, which is weird. And don't say because she's your friend, because my friends don't put their hands on me. And if they did, they wouldn't be my friends. And then next, I would probably put, who else? Krishan. I'm going to put Krishan there because Krishan wasn't really there. So it's like, for what? After Krishan, I would put Biggie. I ain't gonna say she didn't bring nothing to the show because she definitely brought something to the show, but she just stretched out that whole Stunner beef, and then the whole beef was not even really her beef, but she made it her beef, and then it became her beef, and then the beef should have not have gone on as long as it did, but it did. And you cannot like somebody and still coexist because you're trying to get money or whatever. The Stunner wasn't worried about her after the fact. Like the only reason why they had their issues continuously is because Biggie was still stuck on it. Y'all gonna disagree with that. Some of y'all are. I don't care. Like that's just my opinion. You can have your opinion. I have mine. I feel that way. Next, I'm gonna put Natalie next. Natalie was good this season until the mess with Scotty. Like Natalie was cool. She wasn't fighting nobody. She was just there being a producer. She was cool half the time. Next, I'm gonna put Lowe. Lowe was just cool. Like Lowe was just there to have fun. Like she got in that one fight, but that was it. Like she was there to have fun. She said some questionable things, like that whole fighting, jumping in on your friends' fights when it's one-on-ones. That was weird to me. But I put her there. Next, I'm gonna put Razor next. I love Razor, but she got drunk and was fighting, and whenever she got drunk, sometimes she was annoying when she got drunk because that voice when she got drunk, that voice was crazy. But she's beautiful. Whenever she's not drunk, she's cool. Like Razor is the way she is when she's not drunk is me. Just cool, calm, collected. She's quick-witted. She's funny when she wants to be. Well, I ain't gonna say when she wants to be because she is funny. She's naturally funny. She don't have to do too much to be funny. When she says certain things about certain people, it's funny. Next, I'm going to put, who am I missing? We got Stunner, Tommy, and who else are we missing? Is it just Stunner and Tommy left? Cat. Damn, how did I forget Cat? Cat, yeah, I'm gonna put Cat right there. Cat, people probably gonna be like, why is she this high? Because she ain't doing much. Cat was chilling. Like Cat was mature. She wasn't doing too much. Obviously, y'all wanted her to jump in on Stunner's fights, and it's like, yeah, I'm cool with you right now, but we're not really friends like that because we don't know each other like that. Yes, you've been together for 2-3 weeks. that does not mean that I have to jump in every fight that you in because I'm cool with you. Like, it is what it is. Yes, she probably could have jumped in on that fight when she got jumped at the beginning, but the minute she would have jumped, she would have gotten stopped because security and everybody was around. And Kat is cool. Like, Kat didn't do much of nothing whenever it was brought to her. She handled it. Like, she handled Biggie and she handled Tommy. And she beautiful too. So there's another reason why. And then we got the last two, which essentially are the two stars of the season for me. Tommy and Stunna were the show. But I'm gonna have to put Miss Tommy shit at number 2. Tommy, I mean, it just says everything that you need to know about Tommy. Tommy is Tommy. She don't apologize about it. And I respect it. I do. But Stunna got to be number 1. You can't say Stunna was not the star of the show. Like, every single, probably 90% of the fights this season had something to do with her. And believe it or not, the majority of them fights, she didn't start. Sue me. A lot of y'all probably, because some of y'all said in the last video that she started some of the fights. I don't agree. I really don't. And it's not about me being a Stunna fan, because I didn't come into the show being a Stunna fan. That's the whole thing, because I didn't know who Stunna was to begin with. But I don't know. I respect the fact that she's not scared. Win or lose, she's not scared. She stands on what she stands on. She is who she is. Yes, she could have mingled with them girls a little bit more, but she knew them girls didn't like her. So what was the point? Like, who cares? And then they made the show about her. So what are you gonna do? But that was it. And we're now going to talk about Bad Boys. Bad Boys is funny. The intro, they had a disclaimer, which was so funny to me. It's like, okay, here we go. Because it was like they had to, I don't know if they did that at the beginning of the season premiere for Baddies, but they had it in there. The intro that they had for their intro for the beginning of every episode, it could have been better. Like, it definitely wasn't what Baddies West was doing. So they lost that battle. But we get introduced with this dramatic ass scene with Natalie in the car. She's in Lima. I think that's how you pronounce it, Lima, Ohio. She's getting Orlando bailed out of jail. So she ends up driving up to the jail in her little pink fur coat. She goes into the county, drops 24, I think she had 25 bands, drops that down to get him bailed out. He comes out looking like a bat out of hell because he just came straight out of jail, no haircut, scraggly beard, sideburns all jacked up and shit, like looking crazy. And he comes out excited, obviously. And of course, Natalie meets him with that same energy. You know, Natalie is going to be the one to just be over the top, dramatic. And he's funny the same way. Like, they were sitting there laughing and cracking me up because the way they was acting was just too funny. But they ended up getting in the SUV, driving to go see his lawyer because he got out, but he got an ankle monitor on. And apparently he's got to do a mental assessment, which we all know is necessary because consider everything that's been in the news about him in the past, year or two. Homeboy sound like he ain't rap too tight. He sound like he ain't rap too tight. He was saying it too. He's like, I'm a child star, but here recently, the reason why I'm famous and talked about right now has nothing to do with my resume. It has everything to do with the controversies that I've been in, and he's got a lot. But they ended up going to go see his lawyer, and his lawyer is basically saying that they want him to have a psych evaluation as well, just to make sure he ain't gonna be out harming anybody since he's not gonna be in jail. I don't know if they're gonna keep the ankle monitor on him. I think they probably are and probably should. But that's what that was. But then Natalie ends up taking him to some slumped out project looking apartment that was, I ain't gonna say it was pretty well furnished, but it looked like a standard apartment. For him to be there to clean up, because he just freshly got out of jail. He needed to go take a shower. He needs to get some sleep. So she gave him that place for the night so he can go ahead and get himself together, because they're going to end up flying to Texas to go ahead and meet the other boys. So the next day, Natalie ends up coming and getting him. They ended up getting out of the little SUV, acting a fool, just being extra, getting there to the private jet. They ended up flying to Houston. They get to Houston. Orlando's getting his haircut, and Natalie ends up coming in, pretty much getting him amped up about the promo shoot, meeting the boys and whatever. He's excited and whatever. So the next scene, all the boys ended up pulling up to the shoot, which looks to be on a bridge. And this is now that I'm sitting here saying it, I'm realizing this is the only scene that we had, because half the episode was about Orlando and Natalie. But they all got there. They have their own little cars and their own little motorcycles, and Darrell and Jonathan end up pulling up on a bus, and that's for the photo shoot. So Natalie then arrives as the boys are all standing out there, She gets off the sprinter and it's like, she reminded me of something like that you would see in space. But she ended up getting out, hyping everybody up like she always does. They ended up doing their little solo introductions. Rasby was first, Orlando, obviously, but Rasby was first up. And then I'm just going to fly through these because not much was really said. Carry On was reintroduced. He was talking about how the murder charge that he was, that was in the news about. Apparently, he's saying that's some bullshit. He also saying that he didn't steal this girl's car that he was rumored to have done. Anthony is reintroduced. Mo City JB was introduced. Prince was introduced. Big Banger, I think that's how you say his name, was introduced. He was funny to me because he's talking about he got stabbed in the neck, the back, and got shot 5 times. But he be whooping ass. And it looks like he's definitely the type to do so. It looks like he's backing it up. Chef D was introduced. And it was funny. Orlando, I'm telling you, Orlando's, I already know right now, like this episode, he was my favorite. But I already know he's gonna be my favorite by the end of the season because he's just funny. Like his instances, like the little things that he says in these scenes are just funny. And then his confessionals are funny too. He was sitting there imitating them because they all got up when they was introduced. This is my city. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And he was sitting there imitating them in the confessionals, like, bitch, this is my city. And like the way he was acting was cracking me up. But they next introduced Big Lou. Then Rails was introduced. He apparently went to jail. Can't talk about it because the case is still open. He's got an ankle monitor as well. So it's just a bunch of ankle monitor niggas in here. Then Jonathan's crazy self is reintroduced as well. So Natalie ends up letting them know that they're going to end up going on the road. So it's kind of a similar situation that we just finished with Baddies West, except they're not going to as many places, but they're going from Houston to Austin to Dallas, and then they're rapping, which I think is going to be good. And I think that should be good. Like 3 cities should be good. And I'm pretty sure we're probably going to get like 3-4 episodes a city to stretch it out. Like we already know that's what's going to happen. So Natalie then asked who's going to be the head honcho out of everybody up there. And of course, Jonathan stood up. Mo City JB stood up. He was kind of giving like an energy, like he could be a top dog alpha. He was very vocal throughout the whole little introduction stuff with everybody and whatever. So them two jumped up. Natalie said Banger was quiet, and he said he was quiet because he ain't got time for all the theatrics and stuff. Like everybody was doing a lot, and I was feeling him on that. But Natalie ends up wrapping up. And as soon as she turns to get on that bus, Jonathan runs up and sneaks Anthony. And he cracked him good. Like them shots he got off, he got. And we already know Jonathan's going to connect when he does throw them punches. And I was a little disappointed because I'm like, Jonathan, you ain't have to sneak him. Because you knew you was going to beat him. If it was heads up, you already knew you was going to beat him. So you didn't have to sneak him. You could have told him, look, Anthony, you already know what time it is. Let's go. Get up, square up, because I'm finna run up off you. So he could have done that, but he didn't. Anthony was trying to fight back. And then Chef D ends up running over there and jumping in, which I did not like at all. As y'all know, I'm not a fan of jumping. My whole thing is with him, he said that he had a previous existing beef with him because apparently Anthony was popping shit about him online. And he said he ain't said nothing. He ignored it the whole time, but just took that opportunity to do what he did. And I'm like, granted, if you didn't like him and he knew you didn't like him, you could have waited until after Jonathan did the fight because you already knew Jonathan was going to win. And you about the same size as Jonathan, and essentially you should be beating him too. So you could have did your one-on-one too, but he didn't do it. He took his opportunity to jump in there, and it was 2-on-1, and security tried to break that up and whatever. So Jonathan was then saying that his issue with Anthony, the reason why he did it was because he befriended him, and they was friends, and Anthony ends up befriending the op, Rio, from last season that Jonathan was just straight wanging. And I guess he invited him to a club appearance or whatever Anthony did. And he ain't respected. He said he was slick and it was done behind his back. Granted, I can see the behind the back thing. You could have told him eventually, like you could have told him, look, I'm about to have him come here, do whatever. He didn't have to do it though. That's the thing. He did not have to tell you that. And I'm the person that feels that way. I feel like this could be a controversial thing. Let me know if y'all agree with me on this. If you don't, it's okay. You can let me know. But this is where I stand. Me, I feel like with certain people that don't fool with certain people, if you ain't done nothing to me about it, and I actually like you as a person, if you haven't done anything to me, I'm not going to treat you terribly. Honestly, I'm not going to. I'm not going to act like I can't talk to you because I'm grown and you grown. Don't nobody control me. Don't nobody tell me what to do. But one thing I won't do is be around you and you talk bad about my friend. I won't do that. And if you do, then we're not going to be friends. That's what that is. So the whole instance where Jonathan was mad about him allowing that dude to come to his show or whatever, or to his club or whatever, Anthony was saying, like, look, I'm grown. Like, you're not going to stop my bag. Like, I got bills to pay. And being your friend, if I'm stopping somebody from coming to get money with me, that's not helping me pay my bills. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, in terms of that, I agree with that. Where do y'all stand with that? I'm the type of person, like I said, if you haven't done anything to me, I don't feel there's a reason for me to treat you terribly. But like I said, the only reason I will is if you start talking bad about the other person that I'm friends with that you have an issue with. But let me know what y'all think about that and what would y'all do in that instance. But we then get to Rel saying and decide that nobody should have been jumping, aka Chef D. And I wouldn't say Jonathan was the one jumping because he didn't know that Chef D was gonna jump in. Like he went and did what he did. He snuck him. He didn't have to sneak him, but he went and did what he did. And it was a one-on-one situation when Jonathan did it. Chef D jumping in, that's on Chef D. Like the whole jumping stuff, that's on him. He was the only one that jumped in. So that's what Rails was saying. And I agree with what Rails was saying. Lou was saying, ain't nobody jump. You help your friend. If that's your friend fighting, you should help your friend on some low stuff. I don't agree with that. If your friend's not getting jumped, I don't feel like you should be jumping in a fight. Let them handle their one-on-one. If they're getting beat up, you can pull them off for sure. But jumping in, no, I don't agree with that. But Anthony was saying that he feels like they orchestrated it. He was sitting there talking to Banga. I think that's his name. I'll get it right eventually. But he was saying he didn't like that they ganged up on him. Which again, I don't like the whole saying they ganged up on him. Jonathan did his own. Chef D, that's the one you should have the issue with. You don't like the fact that Chef D jumped in. But yeah, that's that. And Jonathan was then saying that he had peeped how Anthony was being fake with everybody else, but he hadn't did it to him until that point. And when he did it to that point, that's when he had to address it, which I can see where he's coming from. But Lou ends up going over there to Jonathan while he's venting and whatever. And he starts reiterating to Jonathan that nobody jumped Anthony or whatever. You handled yours. And he started talking about Rails. Rails hears his name and comes over and is like, so what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? I didn't say that he jumped him and whatever. I just said that if you're going to want to fight him too, you handle yours. Like, you get your one-on-one. One thing led to another, and them two ended up fighting. And Rails got a nice little hit in there. From what I saw, he got a nice little uppercut in there. Well, I wouldn't say it's an uppercut, but he definitely went. It might have been an uppercut if I remember correctly. But they ended up fighting. That was the cliffhanger, and that was pretty much it for the first episode. It was a pretty good first episode. It wasn't as jam-packed as Baddies West season premiere was, but it was good. I'm still intrigued. I'm very interested in seeing how this season plays out. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know who y'all's favorites were. Let me know what y'all thought about the fights, who was in the wrong, whose side did you choose. I ain't on nobody's side, but like I said what I said. But I will see y'all next week. Thumbs up the video, drop the comments down below, subscribe if you have not already, and I will see y'all next Sunday. Peace.